So, for those of you who don't know, Resident Evil Requiem Showcase just came out today, and I have a few notes on the video itself. Unfortunately, I won't be able to show any of the clips from the actual showcase today. If you want, I'll see about putting a link to the premiere in the description. The video's done as of me recording this. I went through the entire thing and thought I might as well put my 2 cents out here. Uh, there's a few notes that I got for the showcase. Why do we need to know about their crossovers? Like you could have put that at the end of the showcase and nobody really would have cared. So to put the front and center, they did the Porsche crossover thing with Leon, saying that, oh, it's a car that's reliable, a car that Leon would like to drive. I'm like, you don't fucking know what cars Leon would like to drive. I feel like, because a Porsche doesn't feel like something he would drive. He wouldn't drive something that's stupidly expensive to the point where it's like fucking 8 grand. He'd drive like a fucking $300 car. Something like, well, not even a $300 car. I doubt that cars are even that fucking cheap nowadays. But in comparison to the stupidly expensive cars, I feel like Leon would get something that's reliable, but also not made of fucking plastic like some of the cars are today. Uh, yeah, apparently there's also a fucking crossover with watches. Leon has his own custom-made watch in the game. So does Grace. Uh, really, I personally don't care. I mean, I have a watch. It's a nice watch, but like, I'm not gonna go out and fucking spend my rent's worth on a watch. Like, fuck, I'm not gonna go out and spend 4 grand on a watch. Like, come on, no one's gonna do that unless they have the money to spend. Like, let's say they're making $50,000 a year. Yeah, they probably have enough fucking money to buy a watch whenever the fuck they want. That's like 8 grand. Um, and apparently, if you pre-order the game, you only get a skin for Grace, as far as I saw in the showcase trailer. Literally, it. The first thing I saw was, oh, since if you've pre-ordered the game, then you will have a skin for Grace. Okay, well, what about Leon? What about the guns? Like, nothing else, really? No other skins? You get all this crap with fucking pre-ordering the digital deluxe edition, but if you pre-order a physical copy, you just get one skin. Really? I pre-ordered that shit for $100 fucking, over $100, like $104, something like that. So this is bullshit. I'm gonna be honest, this is straight bullshit. Let me just see if I have the receipt still with me. Uh, is it here? Do I still have the fucking GameStop receipt? No, it's all around. Where's the GameStop receipt? Did I throw it away like a dumbass? Maybe I did. Uh, oh yeah, apparently they're literally making a controller for the Switch 2 for this game. Like an actual Pro controller for the Nintendo Switch 2 for Resident Evil Requiem. Which I think is definitely interesting. I am a little disappointed that there's not going to be controllers coming out for other consoles as well. Along with the Pro Controller for the Switch 2, they will be adding Resident Evil 7, which is Biohazard, and then they will also be adding Resident Evil Village, both gold editions, to the Switch library on the release day of Resident Evil Requiem. Let's see. Oh yeah, apparently there's also going to be an amiibo as well. They didn't showcase the amiibo, or maybe it was the figurine. I don't know. They just talked about it. They didn't actually show the amiibo in the showcase. They showed the Pro controller. They showed uh, the collectible, like actual real world collectible, like little statuette things. You can get one of Leon, uh, Claire. What? I don't remember who the other person is for Requiem. I know that Leon's in the game. He doesn't really. I mean, yeah, he looks older. But I noticed that they didn't really take the Chris route with how they made him older. Like they didn't demuscle him or anything like that. They didn't make him stupidly taller and demuscle him like they did with Chris in Resident Evil Village, which I actually like. The fact that, they finally they're like, you know what? Either they got enough like hate for Chris, or they just got smart and they're like, yeah, let's make Leon look like Leon when Leon was in Resident Evil 6, but 15 years older. Because apparently Resident Evil Requiem is 15 years after the events of Resident Evil 6. For those of you who don't think that Resident Evil 6 is actually canon, fuck you, it is. Um, Oh yeah, there's also a symphony orchestra that's going to be playing through some track like OSTs. You'd have to look at the showcase. I don't remember what the dates were, but apparently it's going to be cool. Also, there is a mad doctor in the game. Some theories that I have about the Mad Doctor in Resident Evil Requiem are that he is going to be a big like story point when it comes to, oh yeah, her name Grace. It's going to be a big story point for Grace's campaign because apparently in the showcase they actually did some teasing of some scenes of the game, and apparently the Mad Doctor kidnaps Grace, or at least what Grace thinks is kidnapping, and then the Doctor says that he's uh, done something that's not kidnapping. Another word for saving, I think it was. I don't remember what the actual word the Doctor used. I don't know why I don't remember it. I mean, last night I didn't really sleep very well. I was kind of excited for the showcase today. So like I was really excited for the showcase. That's why I got as literally I was just sitting on my bed waiting for the showcase to start, and once it did, boom, I hopped on that shit, watched that, and started writing things down. Well, I didn't write very much, but I started writing some things down about what I wanted to say in my reaction of the trailer. So that's really all that I have. A little bit disappointed that we don't get more for pre-ordering a physical copy. It'd be nice to have like access to, like, because when I pre-ordered Resident Evil 2 the remake, like I had access to all the guns immediately, which yes is nice, but I feel like what they should have done instead for that, which I hope that if anybody on the team sees this bullshit that I'm posting and thinks, oh, this might actually be somebody who cares, and maybe we should actually follow what they say. I definitely think that you should somewhat go with the route of pre-orders for Resident Evil 2 Remake. However, instead of giving people access to all the guns instantly, you give them access to like a powerful gun, but make it so that that gun cannot be used at all times. Like if you go into a specific area, just make it so that the gun cannot be used, or it's like a gun that needs ammo like any other gun. Like infinite ammo should be unlocked through painstaking processes, not through instant gratification of me purchasing the game for pre-order. For pre-ordering a game, disappointed to hear that apparently we're only going to get a skin for Grace. Like, why? I spent over $100 and you're going to give me a one extra skin? But the people who pre-ordered the digital deluxe edition, they get like three skins for Grace, they get a skin for Leon, they get fucking filters in the game. It's like why? Filters should be added to the game depending on like how you're beating it. Like if you beat the game, let's say 100%, you should have access to everything that the digital deluxe edition would give you previously. This is just all my opinion. Like if you're gonna order a digital deluxe edition, that's basically like I want instant gratification. I don't need to worry about the game itself. I want to have fun. I don't want to care about what I'm doing. I literally just want to kill zombies and have fun. That ruins the entire fucking shtick for Resident Evil. There's two versions of Resident Evil in this game. the way that they explained it to me is there is two versions. There is Grace's story, which kind of feels more like a Resident Evil 7 game, and then there's Leon's campaign, which still feels like it did, or at least that's what they're trying to do. They're making it trying to make his story still kind of feel like Resident Evil 6 gameplay, which is nice, which is fair. I get it. Like the last time we saw Leon was in Resident Evil 6 and it was a horror action game. Now, with Grace's campaign, apparently they're going to go back to their roots a bit and they're going to try to make it more of an actual horror game with good suspense. You're almost always out of ammo unless you're saving it for shit like a boss fight. Because when a boss fight happens, they usually give you a decent amount of ammo to be able to fight the boss. Unless you're somebody like me, for some reason, every single game that I've played first try, I end up walking into the boss room without nearly enough ammo to beat it, and it just doesn't make sense. But hopefully, it gets fixed, or hopefully that trope is fixed with Resident Evil Requiem. And what happens in Requiem, uh, hopefully, will set up a continuation for the game. Instead of just being like, oh, this is an ending, I wonder what happens next. With with the ending of Resident Evil 6, there's so many endings that you can get because there's so many different storylines. And no other Resident Evil game has attempted to do this because apparently it flopped. Yet, it's kind of similar to what happened with the Andrew Garfield stuff, where at first not a lot of people really liked the movie, and now it's just blowing up. So, and I feel like with Resident Evil 6, it definitely has the fan base split probably 50-50 when it comes to the actual gameplay itself. For me, I personally love Resident Evil 6 because I wasn't raised on Resident Evil 1, 2, 3, or even 4. I started on Resident Evil 5, which was just horror action. Controls were a little tanky, and literally the worst part about Resident Evil 5, in my opinion, was the tank controls. When I was a kid, I mastered them flawlessly. I was able to beat the game almost 100%, nearly all achievements. Then I pick it up again on my PS5, and the controls are just so tanky, I can't even immerse myself in the gameplay. Unlike with Resident Evil 6, it's basically Resident Evil 5 on steroids, which is a way that I like to explain Resident Evil 6 to people who've only played Resident Evil 5 in games previous, or even don't play Resident Evil 6 and only go to 7 and 8. Resident Evil 6 was a game where it was horror action, but there was some moments of actual, like, subtlety and, like, oh shit, I need to be quiet here or I'm gonna fucking die instantly. Like, in older horror games where, in scenes where if you don't fucking be quiet, you're dead. So, for the people who hate Resident Evil 6, I just want to say, with the most amount of respect, fuck you. Resident Evil 6, in my opinion, was peak. It was peak Resident Evil because we had Resident Evil 5 and it was a little bit off. It had some good shit going on for it. The Infinite Golden Egg glitch, which, if we ever get a Resident Evil 5 remake, they better fucking keep that glitch in there. Otherwise, everyone's going to be pissed and no one's going to play the game. Because, literally, the only reason why a lot of people still play Resident Evil 5 to this day is because of the story, the Golden Egg glitch, and basically just trying to get 100% to those who actually care about trying to get 100% for Resident Evil 6, or I mean Resident Evil 5. Now, to those who still play Resident Evil 6, which there are very, very few people, like I can actually still play online matches with Resident Evil 6 people to this day. It's just depending on how you try to do it, like what game type you choose, you might not find anyone, or you might find like 8 people. Again, it's basically just luck. At least for me, it was because like I found 8 people, like literally only 8 people, and I played with them. It was fun. Then I lagged out somehow. Fucking damage wasn't working properly. I don't know what was going on. The main game works. Multiplayer, not so much, but it still has its fun moments. Um, I think that before Resident Evil Requiem comes out, I should play Resident Evil 6 again, just Leon's campaign, which is probably my favorite campaign of all, and try to see if I can make any connections with Resident Evil 6 to Resident Evil Requiem. Like saying like, oh, well, because Leon leaves the BSAA. I'm pretty because he was in the BSAA or like early on, I'm pretty sure, and then he switched to a different task force entirely. And then now in Resident Evil Requiem, post Resident Evil 6, 15 years later, as we discussed earlier, he's still fighting bioterrorism, but not with the BSAA, not with the other place that he worked at when he found out that Simmons was the reason why the president was killed. There's a lot more things that I could talk about, but I just wanted to get like my biggest ideas out front and open out there, to see if anyone even cares. Um, there's a lot of ums. Yeah, it's not great for a presentation, but like this is just on the fly. I'm trying to make as much sense of this as possible with what little sleep I did have last night before this whole Resident Evil Requiem showcase came out. So that's going to be it for this video. Thank you, everyone. If for those of you who did watch all the way to the end, then please hit the subscribe button, the like button, uh, type in the comment zombie if you got to the end. And yeah, I think that's it. Thank you, everyone, so much for watching. If you find yourself coming back for more content, then why not hit that subscribe button as well? Hit the notifications button as well. And I think that's it. That's everything I have to say. Resident Evil Requiem is coming out February 27th of this year, just after my birthday. Thankfully, I've pre-ordered it, so literally the day that it comes out, I can just walk into the GameStop with my friend and boom, I'll have the game.